Welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii. Here it is, Thursday, Thanksgiving. A really special day, and our special guests are Roger Epstein of the Cade Schutte firm, Kingward Gan, a Shanghai lawyer, and Mark Shklov, a lawyer in my building right down the hallway from me. Lawyers everywhere. This is a complete 100% lawyer program. We're going to call it Chapter 6 of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China. Okay? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jay. Terrific to be here. Thank you.
Kingward?
Thank you.
Okay. Mark?
Well, since I have an opportunity, I want to thank you for getting us started in this program about 6 years ago. You have always helped us on the as we walk down this road, and glad that we could be here.
And we're still walking down the road. It's fabulous to have you guys all together. You know, like I hope you don't take elevators together. That would be
or airplanes.
Ill-advised. Or airplanes. You're going to separate it.
No, we got to have somebody surviving.
Okay, Kingward, we got to talk about your arrival because that's the news. We always talk about the news first. Yeah. So there is a rumor that you have arrived.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
I will be here for 3 months.
You're going to be here for 3 months, and you just came, what, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, about 25 days before I'll be.
Okay. And you're already embedded and working hard at the Cade Schutte firm?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Roger treating you nicely?
Very good, yeah.
Okay.
So, the Hawaii people is very welcoming, and the Aloha spirit is very nice,
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet. Yeah.
Well, he's learned a lot about Hawaii in just the few days he's been here, and he mentions the Aloha spirit, and that's right. I think it's quite a bit different than Shanghai, right?
Yeah. So I have learned some local words, for them aloha and mahalo and something like that.
Oh, good.
It's very interesting. And,
good. So what is this about how there's not enough aloha in Shanghai?
Yeah. So Sun Yat-sen, his saying is bo ai, and tianxia wei gong is also from the Aloha spirit, I think, because he has studied in Pulaha school, in Hawaii.
And Iolani too.
So did Sun Yat-sen.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
What we're talking
okay.
about.
Yeah. Are you related?
Yeah.
No.
They're both Chinese.
Okay. 1.4, is it 1.4 billion or 1.5 now?
Yeah. 1.5?
Is it 1.5?
1.4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the Chinese were saying that it was 1.3, and the years went by, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It was still 1.3. Yeah. And after a while, you really had to wonder if everything was
people were having babies.
1.3. Yeah, well, it's still 1.3.
You can't go until you can't
it's the one-child program,
until someone leaves. Then you can have one come. Well, I wonder what China would be like if they didn't have the one-child program. Well, how many people would be there?
All you have to do is look now. The one-child program is out, right?
Yeah, not only because now the Chinese officials and scholars are discussing about it. Maybe in the future, this policy will be cancelled because the aging population of China.
The bell curve.
Yeah, the healthcare is heavy, and the retirement planning is under great pressure in China.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, though, isn't it? Because there are actually more men. I get this right. There are more men than women.
Yeah.
And we have to adjust that.
Yeah. Yes. The males is more than the female.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future, maybe the male will.
That's why I don't live in China, by the way. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something.
Roger, can you adjust Kingward's microphone and put it up about 6 inches?
Okay.
Is it hard to?
That's good.
Is it hard for men to find spouses or wives? Is it hard?
It's hard because for the excellent girls, they want to find a better one than here, and if the boys are not so excellent, they cannot find the wives because they don't have the houses or apartments and don't have cars.
So money matters.
Yeah.
And if you're, I guess that means if you're a young lady in Shanghai or China, you have more choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of choice if you're women.
Why is that? You know, because why is that? Wasn't there a policy, or not a policy, but a culture point that everybody wanted to have male children and not female children?
Well, that's why we're there.
Because there is difference between the rural areas and the countryside.
Yeah.
Because from the countryside, because most of the families they just want to the sons and the boys, because they just want to this next generation could support them because when they are getting old now. Mm-hmm. But in the rural areas, there is maybe the appearance is being changed all the time. Maybe the female is maybe equal.
Yeah. Well,
so they don't care that much.
In the cities, you mean?
Yeah.
In the cities, they don't care whether it's a boy or a girl. They're okay.
Yeah.
In the country,
in the country, you need a man to help out in the farm.
With the farming, sure.
But in the cities, they have the retirement planning. They can just support themselves. And if they have daughters, maybe they could be need pressure, because the daughter maybe when they get married, they just they could not. It's unnecessary for the girls to buy the houses and the apartments.
Mm-hmm.
But about the husband or the male part, they could afford to buy such things. So the boys' parents could have great pressure. So maybe from this point of view, some parents will is likely to have daughters.
Yeah, so the whole thing's changed.
Yeah.
Better to have a daughter. Her husband will support her, and you just have to take care of yourself.
Is there a dowry in China? Is there a dowry? Does the bride's family have to give something to the groom?
Like money? Does the bride's family have to give any money to the husband?
Yeah, not necessarily.
Who pays for the wedding?
The husband, the family.
The family of the husband pays for the wedding.
Okay, just want to get that straight.
In the United States, the family of the wife pays for the wedding.
There are also some cases where if the wedding is separate, for example, if the wife's part of family will have a separate wedding, they will pay themselves. Yeah.
Oh. So you realize there are more women than men here.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a wife.
Oh, sorry, that was my next question. Or maybe not.
and a child, too.
Yeah, I have a child, 2 years old.
Still back in China, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're coming for Christmas?
Yeah, no.
In January.
January.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you're going to be here for 3 months.
Yeah.
That means what? December, January, February?
Yeah, in the January. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well,
November, December, and January.
Okay, November counts, yeah.
He came at the end of October.
So if you're going to be here on January 24th, it would be great if you would attend our Hawaii Venture Capital Association meeting at the Plaza Club. I am inviting you now publicly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I'll send you an email too.
Okay.
This will be discussing the Entrepreneur of the Year and the Deal of the Year awards. We'll be giving awards, and you'll see the kind of companies and entrepreneurs that actually get awards. Present company excluded.
So one of the reasons that we asked Kingward to be the attorney to come for these 3 months is because he has a lot of experience with outbound investment from China. So his clients have come to the United States to either sell goods or to make investments.
Mm-hmm. Are you with a big firm, Kingward?
Not big, but middle-sized.
How big?
It's about 30 lawyers. 30 lawyers.
30 lawyers.
Yeah. Line partners. Yeah.
In Honolulu, that'd be big. But, everything is bigger in China.
China, the largest firm we found when we went to China was planning next year to be 3,500 lawyers in Beijing. Not all in Beijing, but headquartered in Beijing. 3,500.
Can you think of an American firm that's that big?
Most of the American firms that would be the biggest in the world. There are American firms that are 2,500 or so.
Baker McKenzie?
Baker McKenzie's more of a franchise, but there's some New York firms that actually have their own offices, like corporate, all part of the same company, that are 2,500 or a little more.
3,500 would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How do you manage a firm that big? There must be serious problems. Kingward, are you going to grow your firm? Yeah. Are you going to be 3,000 people after a while?
Yeah.
No, you're going to stay at 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to try to get more attorneys, bigger than 30?
Yeah.
Is that your plan?
No, I'm not planning that because it's different law firms have different developing planning. So for the big law firms, it's not very easy to manage it.
Right.
Oh, sure. That's true.
This way, you're closer and you can work with each other.
Yeah. So in the big law firms, sometimes the staff cannot know each other. So it's very hard to manage the whole part.
Yeah, sure. So is the whole firm doing outbound investment or just you?
No, there are also colleagues do the same.
They all do. Everyone in the firm does that?
Yeah.
Oh,
What other areas does your firm practice in?
Corporate and securities, financing, and real estate. And,
corporate finance, real estate.
And the IP laws.
And IP. So you have clients that are growing.
Yeah.
Some going public.
Yeah.
Some acquiring other companies.
Yeah.
Some buying real estate for development.
Yes.
And how many of your clients are manufacturing companies?
Yeah, so mine may be about 70% of my clients.
70% of your clients are manufacturing.
Yeah.
And we discussed the client that manufactures sheets and towels and goods that might be good for a hotel.
Yeah. So China is famous for made in China. When I went to Walmart and on the shopping centers, I see many things are made in China.
Yeah.
So there are many manufacturers in China. So.
Well, I have to tell you a short story.
Okay.
In the Jefferson Fellows, is an exchange program for journalists. Yeah. And the Chinese journalists come to the U.S. and the U.S. journalists go to China. And when the Chinese journalists had gone around the whole country and went to all these newspapers and media, and met a lot of people, they came back to the East-West Center so they could kind of tell everybody what it was like. And there was one woman came from big paper in Shanghai, and she said that her husband had asked her to get an American ball cap because she thought that was the cat's meow, an American ball cap.
Uh-huh.
And so every city they went, she looked for an American ball cap. And they went to quite a few cities. Yeah. She never found a single ball cap made in America. All the ball caps were made in China. That's the way it goes.
You probably can't buy them in China, though, for the New York Yankees or the San Diego Chargers.
Anyway, so what are you gonna do at the Cades firm? Are you gonna help in outbound or inbound, whatever side of the pond you may be? Are you gonna help in investment from China to Hawaii?
Yeah. No. Recently just doing research. I learned that 75% of the applicants for the EB-5 program in USA are Chinese. 75% of the applicants are Chinese.
Are you familiar with the EB-5 program?
Yeah.
Yes, but I had heard recently, and you can correct me, you guys, all of you. I had heard that in Hawaii, although we talk about EB-5 a lot, there hasn't actually been one. Is this true?
No, that's not true. But there haven't been many. That is true.
More could be done.
Yeah, much more could be done, and we're hoping that will improve. And that was one of the reasons that we asked Kingward to come. We selected him to come because he has experience with clients in the EB-5 program.
Well, maybe now you can do some, in substantial number.
Well, we're working on a lot of fronts to do that, Jay. And Kingward is one piece of it, and we hope that we will. We're connecting him up with some of the centers here and some of the people doing the EB-5 program, and we're wanting to expand that. And there's a number of levels, but having relations with lawyers in Shanghai will be really helpful for us.
You know, we have a lot to discuss, but right now we're going to take a short break, Roger.
Okay.
And Kingward and Mark, we'll be right back after these messages. We're back. We're ThinkTech. It's Thanksgiving, and we're talking about Chapter 6 of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China. We have Roger Epstein of Cade Schutte, we have Kingward Gan, a Shanghai lawyer, and we have Mark Shklov, a lawyer on my floor. I hate to repeat that, but that's how I see you,
I guess
Mark.
you're wondering, how did they ever let me on your floor? Well,
It was kismet.
Yeah.
Mark has been practicing law for, 35 years,
Yeah.
and the only way you can identify him is he's on your floor.
Okay,
he
well,
was
I'm gonna-
shocked that it happened.
At the next break, I'm going to think of another way to describe him. He may not like it, but I... Well, let's talk in this part of the show about how this program got started. And I'll call on Mark to describe the origins, because he was there originally, and I remember those discussions.
Yeah, let me talk about it and give you an idea how it started. It really started over dinner in a Chinese restaurant in Shanghai. I'd been going to Shanghai 2 or 3 times because of my interest in Asia and meeting lawyers there. And I was introduced to a senior lawyer, Richard Shu, who had been lawyering in China for a long time, and there's not a lot of older lawyers in China. And one of his goals was to mentor young Chinese lawyers. And every time I met with him, he would have a number of young lawyers along with him, and he wanted to introduce them and get them to know how to work with lawyers from around the world, especially the United States. He had a lot of faith in China, and he wanted to make good relationships. So over dinner one night, he leans over to me and he says, "Mark, would you be willing to take a young Chinese lawyer in Hawaii and mentor them?" And I didn't think twice about it, but maybe I should have, but I just said yes. And when I came back to Hawaii after that trip, I met with a couple lawyers, and Roger Epstein being one, Jay Fidell being one, and we talked about it, and we were all in favor of putting together a program. After that, Jay, I think you went to dinner in Shanghai yourself with Mr. Shu, and met him, and I think you interviewed some young Chinese lawyers, and ultimately we got our first lawyer, Shang Yu Zhang, and from there she started working at Cade's, and the reason that it's good to have a firm like Cade's is because they have a tremendous breadth of lawyers and experience. They're the largest law firm in Honolulu.
They're also nice guys.
They're also very nice.
You'll find out, Kingward, they're nice guys.
They're very nice, very nice people.
Exclusive club of nice guys.
And Roger really took it and ran with it. And tell us what
Yeah,
happened.
well, I had been going to Hong Kong since 1974 when Jardine Matheson acquired the former owners of this building, Theo Davies and Company, and Run Run Shaw, one of the large Chinese organizations that created the Kung Fu movies, became our clients. And I also have a background with Chinese Taoist acupuncture school. I was the chairman of the board for 20 years. So I have a lot of things Chinese in my background. When Mark came to me and he said, "Look, we have this opportunity to take these lawyers. We need to find a place for them." I thought, well, yeah, that would be great. We'll work with them and we'll see China's developing. We can find an office for them and some things that they could collaborate on in various areas of our practice. And Mark and you and the then president of the Bar Association, was she president at that time, or maybe before her? But so the entire community, or a number of people in the community, came together and said, yeah, this would be a good thing, the University of Hawaii Law School. And so it wasn't just they would come to Cade's, it was that they would come to Cade's, and that could be a base for them to stay and to work out of our facility. And we're big enough to be able to find an office and to have a computer. And then over the years, everyone has pitched in to show that the attorneys who have come here what the community's really like. I often say, if you're here and you can go to the courts, you can meet the justices, you can meet the people in the legislature, you can just find the bar association, whereas if you went to New York for 3 months, you'd end up in some huge law firm working on one little project. And
in a tiny little carrol.
In a tiny little carrol. And so it's been a tremendous opportunity, I think, for the lawyers to come out. And actually, the program has grown because we originally started with Richard Shue, and then another lawyer, and then at some point, the Luan Judicial District found out what we were doing. Actually, there was a graduate of the University of Hawaii Law School who was with that organization, where you register if you're a lawyer. And they called and said, would we be interested in taking some lawyers? So at that point, we thought, wow, this is getting serious. The government is interested in having young lawyers come and apprentice, not so much apprentice, and we don't really put it out that way. What Kingward here is doing is developing his law practice. So he's really here to find business and for us to give him clients and for him to find clients here that can be mutual. And so he mentioned before that he has some manufacturing clients, and we've talked about maybe we will connect with some of the hotels here and see if they're interested in buying direct instead of having a middle person. And the EB-5 program we talked about, we're hopeful that there will be more of his clients, and that maybe somebody comes here, they want to make an investment, they can talk to Kingward when he's back in Shanghai and get a better understanding and answer questions, and then we can all collaborate on that.
And one of our goals in all of this is to help Hawaii, to help the state of Hawaii, because a lot of the Chinese lawyers that we met, maybe they knew about New York, they knew about Los Angeles, they knew about Hawaii in the sense of that they've heard about it, but they really had no concept of what Honolulu or Hawaii or our state was all about. And one of our goals is to give a familiarity with our state so that Chinese lawyers who oftentimes have access to investors or people that are interested in coming to the United States will know about us and know that this is a good place to do business, have a friendly environment, and will be welcoming to Chinese investment. So that was one of our goals, is to put Hawaii on the map also.
Well, I think it even goes beyond that, Jay. Mark and I and Dean Larry Foster, former dean of the UH Law School, and Alan Ma, who's a immigration attorney, we've organized in a collaborative way. We call the U.S.-China Legal Network. And we went to China and met with 15 law firms there. And what we said to them basically, and I think this is a realistic possibility, Hawaii could be a gateway for Chinese clients investing in the mainland. And
to invest here first?
No, no, as a gateway for your entree wherever you're going to invest in the United States. And so the idea is, look, Hawaii's centered in between Asia and Pacific, the fastest growing region in the world. If you want to do business in the United States, to call from Shanghai to New York is 12 hours. It's very difficult to do that. All my Hong Kong clients, we had a lot of business in New York. So I would come in at 9, call New York at 3. We'd have a conversation. When they came in at Hong Kong at 9, it was 3 in Honolulu. So the timing is really good, not to mention the transportation if you want to do that. We also have a very Asian-centric community here where it's easy for someone to come over here and feel comfortable because of the Asian community. It's easier for all of us, whether we're Asian or not, to feel comfortable in that setting. And most importantly, the fees we charge are 60% of what mainland lawyers charge in the big cities. So now you're a PRC lawyer, and your clients, you have 2 or 3 clients thinking about investing in the mainland. So you can either hire somebody in Denver and then Chicago and then Seattle, or you can hire us at basically the same rates that you're charging. And we can work out the international aspects. We can do an overall plan for an acquisition. And if we need local counsel in one of those states, we can get them. Now you're developing a relationship on a long-term basis, which is very important to the Chinese, that you can trust. And so, and I can say when it makes sense for me to go with them. I mean, we do this all the time. In fact, this is how lawyers practice law these days. You hire a lawyer in D.C., they may go with you to Los Angeles to close a transaction. People are very mobile. If you figure, well, some of those guys, their time is, you know, $800 or $900 an hour. If the airfare is $300, so what? So anyway, the point is, it can be very cost effective, and you can develop long-term relations. And what Mark was saying is true. We still have the reputation that Hawaii loves and struggles with of being a wonderful place to visit and go to the beach and bask in the sun and nature. But at the same time, we have very capable legal practice here. It is a national practice. It's the same thing with the medical community, a very capable medical community. And so from time to time, people have taken advantage of that. So we feel that this is for the whole community. There's a huge potential. If you figure 60% of the wealthiest people in China want to leave the country, and there's 1.4 billion people. That means 14 million is the 1%. You take 60% of that, you've got 8.5 million people wanting to leave the country, much less invest outside. So there's a huge pool of people. And on the EB-5 side, I'm given to understand that Canada has stopped its program, as Australia and some others.
Why?
Maybe they felt it was, they didn't want any more immigrants.
Wow.
I really don't know. That's a good question. But this is quite recent. So we're going to see more. As Kingward said, 75% of the EB-5 program people now are already from China. Now with smaller outlet, where are they going to go?
Roger, we're going to take a short break.
All right.
This is ThinkTech Radio here on Thanksgiving Day with Roger Epstein of Cage Shuddy, Kingward Gan, a Shanghai lawyer, and Mark Shklov, a fantastic lawyer who I have known for many years. I've known you both for many years. And we're talking about Chapter 6, namely Kingward Gan, of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're ThinkTech here on Thanksgiving Day with Roger Epstein of Cage Shuddy, Kingward Gan, a Shanghai lawyer, and Mark Shklov, one of the finest human beings I have ever known, a lawyer also. And we're talking about Chapter 6 of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China, namely Kingward Gan.
Should we explain why it's Chapter 6?
Yes. Why don't you do that?
All right. It's because Kingward is our 6th attorney from Shanghai, specifically, that has
5
come
from
here.
Shanghai, 1 from Beijing.
Well, she went back to Beijing,
that's right.
but she was actually originally from Shanghai, and actually one is in Hong Kong. And now we have 6 alumni. We have 6 really wonderful, nice young lawyers who are decent people, who we've had a great relationships with. We got to know them all on a very nice level, became friends, and they've all gone back to China. 4 of them in Shanghai. Well, when Kingward goes back, he'll be the 4th back to Shanghai. And 1 in Hong Kong with a very nice, excellent law firm in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. And then 1 in Beijing, a very large law firm in Beijing. And they all spent time with us. They all know a lot about Hawaii. They're all friends of Hawaii. And they're all like our missionaries in China, who will go back, and they know now that they have contacts and friends and lawyers they can work with here in Hawaii and in the United States that are trustworthy, that won't take advantage of them, and that are looking to develop a good friendship and relationship. So Kingward's our 6th in that line.
But I think that you make a valuable point, is we need to stay in touch with them.
Yeah.
It's all about that progression you were talking about, Roger.
So we started with 1 lawyer that Richard had suggested, and then a second one. And then we got involved with the Luan Judicial District, which merged with another judicial district, the Huangpu Judicial District. And so we've had 3 lawyers now from there. And we also recently entered into an agreement between the Hawaii State Bar Association and the Shanghai Bar Association. And so we are making connections on that level as from city to city.
You know, I'd like to ask Kingward a little bit about the selection process in Shanghai. Like, you were the Kingward. I think there were 3 lawyers that applied, or do you have to apply, or how do you get selected to become a lawyer to come to Hawaii?
So all the law firms of Huangpu district just choose the candidates, you know.
All the law firms.
Not all of them.
Those who are interested.
Yeah, maybe the law firms, maybe the Huangpu district, judicial district will just communicate with law firms to see if there are any suitable candidates to be selected for. And
then the law firm says Kingward or
my law firm just chose select me to be the candidate.
I see.
So, but Roger, when you went there, you interviewed more than one possibility. Kingward was one of a number of possibilities.
We've been interviewing the last few times over Skype. Yeah. And Larry has been in Shanghai, Larry Foster. Yeah. And so there were 3 attorneys that I interviewed over the Skype. Mm-hmm. And then we had a hard decision to make as to who to take. But Kingward was an outstanding candidate, and he had the background with the EB-5s and the outbound investment, and that fit in with what we're doing here. And I thought he'd get more out of it, and we'd get more out of it.
So, Kingward, why did you want to come to Hawaii?
When I was in university, I studied international economic law, and when I practiced in law, and some clients are from America and from other European and other countries, and I also my Chinese clients also want to invest in American and countries, I think. So as for me, I just want to have foreign experiences. Maybe if I come here, I can just learn how American lawyers how they practice, and how also want to learn some of the different cultures. And then I will be in the future as the service to render services, better services for my clients. You know. And on the other hand, from my clients, they just want to invest in USA. If I know something about USA, that's better for me, you know. And on the other hand, because I'm being here, I would just cooperate with the Hawaii lawyers. Maybe we can just increase communications culturally or economically, and see.
This is part of a larger thing in China. It's a kind of initiative of sorts. It's an encouragement by the government. The government, and for that matter, the legal community, wants lawyers from China to take LLM programs, and they do all over the world. They do
including here. We have an excellent international LLM program at UH.
And one of those 6 was from the
that's right.
UH LLM program. But I mean, in every major university, every major law school in the country has Chinese students, and it's part of the same thing. And in Europe.
Yeah.
Right? So I think what I see, correct me, but what I see is a general initiative in China for lawyers to come overseas, to become familiar with the way things work in the U.S. and in Europe too, and thus to have direct connections with business enterprises all over the place, and to have friends, and correspondence all over the place where you can make deals. And I think it's a great idea, and actually the U.S. should do the same thing. So therefore, my question to Roger is, the program was originally supposed to be a 2-way street. And here we are on number 6 lawyer, but we haven't sent number 1 lawyer to China yet. What are we waiting on?
We're waiting for you to take off your earphones and say you're ready to go to China for 3 months. We'll find a place for you there.
What does it take to make the trip? I mean, if anybody's listening,
well,
we would love to do this.
We would love to do it. And
this was one of our goals, and we would hope that we could find a young lawyer to do this.
Well, we had an attorney in my office who was working with us, and she'd been involved in the program. She took the trip with us to Shanghai. We made it back in October. Gee, it's been that long? A year, huh?
It's been a year.
And but she decided to practice law on the mainland, and so we lost her, and we haven't found anybody who. She actually was Shanghaiese. Her family was Shanghaiese, and she spoke quite good Chinese. So if we find the right person, we're happy to do that. Now, Kingward, does the Huangpu Judicial District pay for some of your travel?
Yeah.
They pay your travel and some living?
Yes, yes.
See, so he's being supported by the judicial district. So the lawyer that goes is going to have to find a way. Now, Connie Liu, who we were thinking about, Connie has relatives in Shanghai. She could stay there. I could give her work. So she could be, I could have worked it out so that she could have been practicing law from Shanghai with us. The lawyers that are here, many of them have ended up working during the day, and then 3 o'clock when their office opens in Shanghai, they got to work again. And some of them, end up spending late nights, but you do learn a lot, and you then
lots of productivity,
and you get a lot of productivity.
It actually works out quite well because of what you just said. In a way, what you were talking about, the time zones.
Yeah,
it does seem to work out okay.
Well, I spend a lot of time in Washington, D.C., where I grew up, and do some work with the IRS there. And so when I'm there, that happens to me all the time. I'll get up and I'll go work and I'll do all this stuff. And at 3 o'clock, I start getting these calls from Honolulu. And, then I'm there till 8 o'clock.
You got to be careful if you're east of the place where you came from.
You go the other way, it's easier. Right?
Yeah, right. So, one of the things I worry about, I do worry. I worry. There was an article in the paper yesterday or today.
Everything's good.
Thank you. Karma.
Karma's
You
good.
should do the breathing exercise.
Thank you.
You guys, even though you wouldn't do my breathing exercise during the break, things are still good.
Let's take a moment and let's take a moment. We have a moment to talk about the breathing exercise now.
Did we really?
I think so.
Okay.
Tell the people what the breathing exercise is and how it can be useful. And then I'll tell you what I worry about.
Okay, I'd like that. Because you won't worry as much after the breathing exercise.
I hope not.
So what happens to us is we get out of balance when we're too active or we get tired. And so the way to restore your balance, and this is from many traditions, is to just breathe one side at a time. So this is called balance breathing. And all you do is you start out, hold one nostril closed, and then breathe in through the other one.
Yeah, that's the magic of radio. You can hear it.
Then you close the other one. You close the one you just breathed through, and you breathe out that one. Then you leave your finger there, and you breathe back in the other side.
Okay. And what exactly does this do?
It balances your energy so that you're calmer, you're more peaceful. The whole idea of dis-ease means you're not at ease.
Yeah.
You're out of balance.
Yeah.
So many traditional Chinese and Asian practices with breathing, Qi Kung, Tai Chi, they all have to do with breathing. And this particular one has to do with calming yourself and settling yourself down by just one at a time, one side and then the other side.
I think it's especially relevant on radio because radio, in large part, is a study of breathing. With breathing, we communicate.
That's true.
Breathing sort of tells the listener exactly how you feel. In the Japanese tradition, you listen to somebody breathing and you see exactly what it sounds like and you determine whether that person is healthy or not.
There you go.
There it is. So, it's all about breathing. And without breathing, what exactly would we have?
Not much.
Good point. Good
Not
point.
much.
And you heard it on ThinkTech. ThinkTech Radio right here.
And that's one of the reasons that China needs Hawaii.
Go on.
Because China has a terrible smog problem. And Hawaii is the demonstration site for the U.S. Department of Energy for renewable energy. And so China has $350 billion that they want to put to solving their problems. And so part of the reason you're having this show today is so we can convince the Chinese government that they should come here and kick the tires of our various demonstration projects and spend some money and clean up their air.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a short break. This is ThinkTech with Roger Epstein, Kingward Gan, and Mark Shklov. We're talking about Chapter 6, namely Kingward Gan, of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. This is ThinkTech Radio here on Thanksgiving Day with Roger Epstein of Cade Schutte, a law firm, Kingward Gan, a Shanghai lawyer, and Mark Shklov, a Honolulu lawyer who I have known for since 1922, or who's counting. And we're talking about Chapter 6 of the Hawaii Lawyer Exchange Program with China, namely Kingward Gan, who is our 6th lawyer in that program. And before we broke for the break, we were talking about what worries me, and I told you that during the break, and I'll tell you again. I worry about the overflight problem. You know, Hawaii has expected large numbers of Chinese tourists, hasn't got them. Hawaii used to have more Chinese students at University of Hawaii, and somehow that has declined, according to the paper yesterday, I think it was. A lot of Chinese business and travelers are overflying Hawaii, going to the mainland for one reason or another. I'm not sure exactly what the reason is. Maybe it's looking for action, you know, looking for big structures that they can be more simpatico with. But I worry about that. And what you're doing, you guys, it's really important to put Hawaii on the map as far as the Chinese trip to the U.S. is concerned. Do you share my concern?
Not really. I think that we're going to get more than our share of Chinese tourists. I saw in the PBN a couple of months back, many of the hotels are gearing up for more Chinese tourists. I do think we could do more things to welcome Chinese. I've heard it a number of times from a colleague we have in Beijing, who's a former lawyer here, now practicing in Beijing. Russell Liu, that says every time he comes here with Chinese colleagues, they get unhappy because we only have welcome announcements in Japanese, and some of the Chinese feel that we're kind of Japanese-oriented, which is true, and not Chinese. So we've talked with a few people, and apparently there is a tape that they've made, and they used to play at the airport in Chinese, but they stopped.
Why?
5-10 years ago. I don't know. Maybe they felt there weren't enough Chinese coming. But I think we're going to, and I'm seeing actually not only Chinese, but an uptick in Japanese and Korean people coming here looking for investments. And I think the Japanese love the ambiance of Hawaii. I think the Chinese, at this point, many of them are looking for business. Many of them are interested in shopping, which they may feel could be done better on the mainland. They love to gamble, so Las Vegas is a great...
A lot of them go straight to Las Vegas,
yeah.
Huh?
But I feel certain we'll get our share. Now, one of the things that
from your lips to God's ears.
God hears, his ears are close to all of our lips. And so I think what we're trying to do is overcome what you're talking about to a great extent. I don't think Hawaii's marketed itself well. We keep hearing from people that Louisiana is better known for EB-5 investments than Hawaii. It's a matter of how much effort you put into it. And Mark, you want to speak to that?
Yeah. That's exactly my point. And that is that before we had our program going on in Shanghai, I think the Luan and Huangpu judicial districts were thinking about sending young lawyers to the mainland United States.
Exactly.
But our program has been so successful in making those connections, and the people that came back from those programs spoke so highly of what they learned and their whole experience, that now they're directing their young lawyers to us.
Well, I'll give you an example. We had the Hawaii State Bar Convention was at the end of September 21st. We had a delegation of 9 governmental people and practicing lawyers from Shanghai, 1 specifically representing the Shanghai Bar, and 8 representing the Huangpu Judicial District, including the gentleman who's in charge of that. They came here, and in addition to signing a friendship agreement between the Shanghai bar and the Hawaii State, they wanted very much, and they did sign an agreement with Cade Schutte to take 2 lawyers a year, to continue the program with 2 lawyers a year for as long as we're all happy with it. But the point was, 8 of those people were from the Huangpu Judicial District, and it was and that was one of their main business purposes was to come here and sign that agreement with us. So they're very interested in getting this kind of training, and they actually did ask us years ago if we would take them for a year, and we couldn't. Then they came back and said, okay, we'd like to do it for 3 months. So,
well, you talk about Guanxi. The fact that this program, our program, the exchange program of lawyers, has existed now for 6 iterations, is a kind of institutional Guanxi. It tells people that, yes, this works. Yes, this is successful. Enough people like this, so it continues and expands. So I think we're on a roll here.
And we also have friends in these places.
Yes.
I mean, anybody now who needs a friend in Shanghai or Beijing,
Correspondent, yeah,
or Hong Kong from Hawaii, there's going to be an instant connection.
yeah, and I think let's not overstate the case. We need to continue to work this. We need to continue to persevere. We signed an agreement between the Shanghai Bar and the Hawaii State Bar that could languish and mean nothing,
right?
Or it could develop a long-term relationship, as could our relationship with the Huangpu Judicial District. So we're not limiting this to ourselves, those of us who have been involved in a program. We're encouraging all the members of the Hawaii Bar and business people who are interested, and we're working with a number of business people to expand the importing and exporting and small business going on. There's a lot of activities that if we collaborated on within the state, we could build a base that would last for a long time, because the Chinese are going to be here for a long, long time.
What's the status of it now, though? I mean, you know, at the height of the Japanese investment cycle back in, about 1990 or so,
yeah,
early 90s, there were a lot of people from Hawaii traveling to Japan all the time. There was certainly a lot of investments made by the Japanese in Hawaii. Have we achieved that level again?
No. I would say we're at the beginning of the cycle, which to me was about 1986.
Yeah.
In 86, we began to see single Japanese coming over with suitcases full of money and walking up to your house in Kahala. We began to see
knocking on your door.
Knocking on your door. You want to sell your house? My house isn't for sale. Well, how much would it take to buy your house? My house is not for sale. Well, how about $1 million? My house is for sale. Where do I sign? You know, so that was what we saw in those days, and we're beginning to just see a trickle. The real estate brokers are talking to us. There is much more going on the continent, and less here. But on the other hand, we have the potential to be real. We don't need a lot. We're 1 million people here in a small set of islands versus California, you know, is 40 million people.
We want to be boutique. You know.
And we want to be real. We want to have relationships with people that are meaningful. We're going to take care of you when you come over here. We're going to develop relationships so you can trust us. And over a long period of time, that will develop. One of the things that it needs to happen is China, right now, if you want to bring money out of China, you can only take out $50,000 as an individual.
That's a Chinese law.
That's a Chinese law. You can only take $50,000 a year out of the country, so it's really difficult. They were supposed to start a pilot program back in March in Wenzhou.
Yeah.
So in Wenzhou, they were supposed to start a program that would allow them to take out $3 million per individual.
Per individual.
Yeah, instead of 50,000. So something got stuck with that in the political process, but the senior people have said they want to have more outbound investment from China to the United States and the rest of the world. So things go slow. You know, like I said, I've been going to Hong Kong since '74, and I remember when Hong Kong opened up in 86 or 82. I guess it was taken over in 86 by the Chinese, but everybody was going to make a fortune in China, and went good 10 years before anybody made anything except the Chinese.
And somebody lost, some people lost a lot
of money. And you know, the big law firms in the United States are over there spending $1 million a month on headquarters, and And we're spending virtually nothing to get this started.
So your model, I mean, the Cade Shuddy model or the Hawaii model is better than having these firms from all over the country spend a lot of money trying to organize a headquarters over there.
I think that's right. And they're looking at the big clients. We're not going to get, the largest clients in China. They're going to need to have New York Council and big 4 CPA firms to vet everything they do. But even small firms in China could be, a couple $100 million in sales or assets. And so there's a lot of small and medium-sized business, which is larger or as large as the businesses we have here. And the point that we're making is we're capable to do business here. We understand the way, we understand your culture. Our fees are reasonable and similar to yours, and we want to make long-term relationships.
So Mark, you're a solo practitioner last time I looked. Where does this fit for you?
Well, I've always been involved from the beginning of my practice, and actually from my education. I studied a year in Japan as an undergraduate. I've always been interested in Asia. Maybe being from Hawaii and the many cultures, it's just been something that it's inherent in my life and my philosophy, and I just enjoy it. So I've tried to develop my own law practice in a way that brings me in close contact with those things that I like. Asia being one of them, and I've met a lot of really interesting, friendly people, a lot of them lawyers, unbelievable as that sounds, in Asia, and gotten to be good friends with them for many years, and as well as learning about you and Roger and other lawyers who share some of my feelings in Hawaii, and I wouldn't have done it but for this type of a program. So to me, it's kind of a personal development and personal trip.
And there's some business that will spin off and has and will continue to.
Sure.
And maybe not as substantial at this point, but again, we're making an investment because we enjoy it. We think it's good for the community. We think it's good for our firm.
Thank you for saying that. I think that's the critical point. Yeah. You see, Kingward, we have all these people who want to be your friend. Yeah. And Hawaii is about the most friendly place you could consider on that analysis. So we hope you enjoy your 3 months, and we hope you learn a lot, and we hope that you'll take that back to Shanghai and tell them about how good a trip you've had, your family too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, you guys, we're about done.